Let's read to thrive at every age and stage. Pick up a new novel or nonfiction book or a short story collection to expand your worldview and improve your health.
That's the focal point of today's topic as we continue our Motivational Monday series. Here to tell us more is award-winning author Stacy Hawkins Adams. Hey, Stacy, it is so good to see you.
Good morning.
And I absolutely love this topic. At my house, we've been doing the Henrico Library's Reading Challenge.
Ooh.
For my daughter, maybe the prize at the end, the possible prize, was why she wanted to do it. But she's gotten so much more out of it. Just with the topic of today is it can really improve your health and make you just so happy.
It really can. You know, books can meet you where you are and help you rise, whatever age or stage you are.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so interesting. It's a great point. Those reading challenges, I remember back in the days when you could go to Pizza Hut and you got a pizza after you read a certain number of books.
Yes.
And it's so interesting that we almost get away from that as we grow older. Once we've learned a certain number of words, we're not necessarily challenged to read in that way, but you're reminding us that we should challenge ourselves.
Exactly. You know, we've gotten into the habit of watching certain series, like TV stations and chilling. We'll say, I don't want to give a brand plug right now, but you know, we like to do that TV watching or movie watching and chill. What about grabbing a book and chill? Because it really can transform your life. You know, we do think about it for the young kids and the summer reading challenges, and that's great, but what if we join that challenge either in our own way with a book club, which many of us are involved in as adults, but also you could pick a book to read with one friend or just something that you want to read for yourself. We often also think that reading is a guilty pleasure, but it really is a pleasure that can improve our health. Studies show this. Reading poetry can lower your blood pressure. We talk about our nation being a nation of loneliness. It's an epidemic now. Reading can cure loneliness because it can build connection by helping you understand another person's world.
And you know, it's just, it feeds that curiosity, right? There are so many topics that all of us say, oh, I wish I knew more about this. Or maybe on the show, you see a segment and say, oh, I would like to know more about that. And you can, because there is a book probably on that topic somewhere.
Absolutely, a book on that topic. And sometimes it does inspire your own writing because you'll read it and say, oh, I could have written this. But then it also gives you the curiosity to go find more books along those lines. The other challenge is, you know, we know what we like. You may like romance, or you might like action or adventure. What if you challenge yourself to read something that you normally wouldn't read? Maybe there's a character that you normally wouldn't resonate with. That is how, again, we talked last week about stretching and growing. That really helps you understand other people in the world when you try something or read something that you would normally do. Like, I'm not a big historical fiction fan, but I read a historical fiction novel earlier this summer, and it just led me down a path of now reading the biographies of the real people, and now I want to visit some of those places that I read about. So it really can open up your world.
One of my favorite things to do is to ask those that I look up to or those that I work with, what are you reading?
Yes.
Or what's a book you would recommend? That's a great way to see things even through some of their eyes because they have been impacted by books, but also to keep your reading list always up to date and ready for that new adventure.
Right, right. And if you think back through your own childhood, through your summers, I know when I was 10, one of my favorite books was Judy Blume's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh my goodness, I love that book.
That book was so timely for that age and stage. And then in middle school, it was Maya Angelou's Why I Know Why the Cage Birds Sing. Well, of course, it was an inspiring book, but I grew up in Arkansas and I wanted to be a writer. And I thought, if she from Stamps, Arkansas can do this, I can do this too. And then as I got older, into my 20s, it was John Grisham's The Testament. I read that book from page to page, from beginning to end, and I put it down and said, I can write a novel now because it inspired me so much. So think about all those touch points in your life when you did take the time to read. How did it inspire you? How did it help change you? And think about the young people in your life that you really want to pour that into. You mentioned your daughter. But you know, with COVID, with the pandemic we had, there was this literacy drain across the nation. So there are many kids who are not at reading level that they should be for their grades. So think about putting a book, a poetry. As a kid, Shel Silverstein was one of my favorite poets. Find something fun for them to read and then join them and tell them why it inspired you at that age too.
It was so funny that we're having this conversation because just this morning, if you remember a series that started way back in the 80s called The Babysitter's Club, I started reading those books when I was going into about 3rd, 4th grade, and my daughter has recently found those stories on that streaming service that we're not going to plug this morning because it's a TV show. show, and I told her, Mommy still has all of those books at my parents' house, at Grandma and Pappy's house in Pennsylvania. So she's excited now about reading all of those books, and it really, it creates that bond too, that way, that generational, you know, is like, this is a TV show that I like, and Mommy read that way back when. How about that?
I love that. And that is so true. Little House on the Prairie. When I tell you every day after school, that ages me, of course. However, but the seeing the TV show led me to read the books. The books are still available. The TV show is still available on some streaming service. So there is that connection with the visual arts that we can tie back to the reading.
Well, it's such a great reminder that a book, while it can take you to a place while you're reading it, it sounds like we have some keen memories from where we were when we read a certain book. Such a great way to create memories and to paint a picture, a different picture, for those who you might be encouraging to read and those who might want to learn something new. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and the beautiful connections that it builds.
Absolutely. Well, we always appreciate you coming in and sharing with us.
Yeah, such a great Monday. Stacy offers a weekly Motivational Monday newsletter by email. If you're interested in subscribing, you can visit stacyhawkinsadams.com.